Welcome back to episode 6 of Get Me The Brandy. And now joining us, former Pittsburgh Penguin and currently a member of our broadcast team, Tyler Kennedy. Kennedy. TK, what's up, buddy?
Not much, man. How are you doing?
I'm doing well. I cannot complain. And I have to be honest with you, we just had a chance to visit with Hailey Hunter in Stockholm, and I have totally flashed back to our trip 17 years ago. My goodness, I'm old, but you look good. 2008. It was something that a lot of teams were experiencing for the first time. What was your first response when, like, okay, we're getting ready for the season in the summer, and all of a sudden you find out, hey, we're going to start the year in Stockholm to end training camp and play the first 2 games of the season against Ottawa?
It was exciting. I never played over in Europe hockey. So when I got the opportunity, and for me, I was still trying to really break into the league. I obviously was up half the year before. So I was kind of taking it all in stride. And when they said we're going to Sweden, and we went over there early, we had a couple exhibition games in Finland, and it was just so fun from just exploring the new places that we've never been before. I felt like it made us closer to this team, and we had so much time together. And you got to give, I have to give a lot of the credit to the staff of the Penguins for making it exciting. We had treasure hunts. We had great dinners. We really explored the cities that we were in. So I was super stoked to get over there and do all that fun stuff.
Yeah, so before we get to the games, because that was almost like the end of the trip, or it was towards the end of the trip, you mentioned the treasure hunt. It was a scavenger hunt that I thought they did an excellent, the group that put it together out there in Stockholm. I mean,
Yeah.
and I didn't follow your group, but I followed Matt Cook's group that also had Jordan Stahl and Max Talbot. You got to see so much of the city in like an 8-hour span because the scavenger hunt sent you everywhere and asked you to do some crazy things. What do you remember about that experience in the group that you had, and maybe some of the highs and the lows?
Yeah, it forced you to go see different places that maybe you wouldn't see on a day off or whatever. It forced you to go all over the city. I had a great group. I had Goligoski, I had a bunch of guys, and Sid, and we just made it so much fun trying to figure out where to go, finding when you go over there, it's a lot different than in the US. There's a lot of the signs are different, the culture's different, but from jumping on the boat to going to see museums, all that stuff was great. And again, I feel like when you do those kind of events, you really become closer as a team. You see guys outside their element. You see guys really in their day to day. In their life outside of hockey. Because sometimes when you play hockey, you really only see certain guys at the rink, guys with families, guys that are busy. You don't outside of hockey, you don't see them that much. So when we did that scavenger hunt, you really got to know the guys better. And then when you add all the other fun things about going to see the museum, seeing how guys' brains worked besides hockey was a lot of fun. Again, you see, when you think of Sid, I feel like his brain is so, I always thought Sid was just like a hockey mind. All he thought was hockey. But when you see him in certain situations, you're like, no, this guy is like, he's like just very intelligent, very bright, even outside of hockey, and just seeing that was an eye opener for me because again, I was a young guy coming into a team that had a lot of older guys, a couple of younger guys, and I never knew what to expect. I didn't know. It helped me get closer to the team coming into the team. So it really helped me, and it made it fun to be part of the team.
So in talking about the beginning of the season, and I'm going back to '08 again, where the first 2 games of the season were played against Ottawa, you mentioned you were in your career a chance to kind of, grow with this team. You're still very young, first trip out playing somewhere else in Europe, on the other side of the world, but you got a chance to be a factor by scoring in game 1 against Ottawa.
Yeah.
How much, and I'm pumping your tires big time here, but
yeah, I know.
Rightfully so. How did you feel? Like you had all this fun on this trip, you're bonding as a team, you're eating like a king, or at least I did, because the food out there was phenomenal. But then you score.
I actually got 2, Dan, I think.
I know you did. I was going to let you set the stage. I'm not forgetting.
Okay.
I'm not forgetting.
To score those 2 goals, it was special. It's one of those things that like it's just funny looking back because I was so young, just full of energy. But when you score early in the season, it helps so much to get your confidence going. And to score those 2 big goals, I felt like it kicked off my year the right way because now I was like, okay, now there's no pressure to get my first goal. So that was, as crazy as sounds, those were like really big goals for me because I was like, I needed to find the confidence to play well. And when you score, it automatically comes.
Inside Penguins Hockey is back.
Let's go eat sushi.
For an all-new season.
And now he's your best friend.
Yeah. Hitting a line in the water is always a joy for me.
Inside Penguins Hockey. New episodes every month on SportsNet Pittsburgh. Presented by UPMC Health Plan.
You talked about your dad watching a lot of your games and things you discuss. When do you remember first watching his games? And did he tell you at all about his stops in Pittsburgh and any memorable games or moments that he had while he played the Penguins? Or any moments at all that really stood out that he shared with you over time?
I like to go to the first question just as early as I can remember, like 4 or 5, just going to Edmonton games and being in the Wise Lounge as a really young kid. Like we went to games all the time there. That was a really cool atmosphere. Like the fans are pretty crazy there, so those are fun games to go to. And yeah, I do know that his only hat trick ever, I believe, was against the Penguins. I think that's what you're thinking of. Yeah.
Well, now I'm not going to stop.
Go, Dan. Go, Dan.
Pause for a moment.
Yep.
That particular game is a big one in Penguins history for a lot of fans. The Oilers had their way with the Penguins in that game. And after the game, head coach Michelle Therrien had a, I don't know, Josh, what would the right word be? Special?
I'd say like a
post-game interview?
A legendary post-game rant. Legendary. Yeah. It's
Legendary.
Still today in Pittsburgh is popular. Yeah.
So with your father having scored the HT in that game, I wonder if he ever shared that with you, if you ever talked about it, if you ever heard about it since you became a member of the Penguins. It's a moment we can look back and laugh on now, but that particular night, well, maybe some fans may have laughed considering the way the press conference went. As Josh said, legendary moment.
Yeah, I honestly don't know what you're talking about. He's never really filled me in on it. No.
Here, Google Will. When we're finished this interview, Google Michelle Therrien Soff, SOFF. You'll find the legendary press conference. It's
okay.
It's
I
great.
will.
It's right after your dad's hat trick.
I will.
Hey, I wanted to ask you about your dad. I know we talked a little bit about your dad, and we're talking about you too. I get it. I'm sure as a son of an NHLer, you're kind of like, guys, like enough with the dad talk. I've heard a lot of it my whole life. But I have to ask you about this weird family dynamic because you mentioned your mom and dad met, and I was going to ask you about that at school. Problem is they went to school at Michigan State, and you are a Wolverine. So, like, how is this working? Because we work with a girl who you will get to know very well, Michelle Crechiolo, and she is a proud Michigan State Spartan. When I told her we were talking to you, she told me to pass along "Go Green," which I don't know what your response to that would be. Probably not something we can share on a public podcast.
Probably
but at the same time, yeah, I'm just curious how it works with your family dynamic because you got both ends of the rivalry spectrum there with the state of Michigan.
Yeah, like I get asked this all the time, and honestly, it's nothing big. Michigan State was one of my final kind of colleges that I narrowed it down to when I was making that decision. Like they have a really good hockey program over there. But like at the end of the day, I just went with where I thought was right in my heart, and I really like Coach Naranto's development plan he had in place for me. And my dad and mom respected that, and they wanted to go where I thought was best. So we don't really have any conflict like when I play Michigan State or anything. Just my dad won't wear anything block M. He said until we win a national championship. So we got to do that before he wears the block M.
Talking about rivalries and Michigan State and cool moments. Again, just looking at what you've been able to do in your very short career at Michigan, your first game there was an outdoor game at Wrigley Field. You talk about having the opportunity to play college hockey at one of the most prestigious programs in the country, but then you do so at one of the greatest baseball ballparks that continues to be so special for so many reasons with baseball, but you play hockey there. What was it like?
Yeah, that was a day like I'll never forget. It was just insane. Like it all flew by really quick. Like just we got dressed in the Cubs locker room as well. Like that was incredible. Like being down there, like it was one of the biggest locker rooms I've ever seen. Um, and just walking out like through the dugout and onto the ice, like it was honestly a moment I'll never forget. And it was Michigan versus Ohio State. Like just doesn't get any better than that. So wish we could have came up with a win at the end of the day, but it was truly a special moment.
The road to puck drop begins on Penguins Tonight. A first look at the latest game news, stories from around the league, and so much more. Penguins Tonight, 1 hour before every game on SportsNet Pittsburgh. Presented by Morgan & Morgan.
Well, we are now so excited to welcome in Wilkes-Barre forward Avery Hayes. Avery, thanks so much for spending some time with us today.
Of course. Thank you for having me.
Well, you guys are on a roll right now. In the mustache, yeah.
Yeah.
It's December. Season?
I know. Yeah. I've had it since training camp, so I like it. And we've been winning, so I can't change it.
It looked good then, and it looks good now.
Thank you. Thank you.
Yes. I love it. Yeah, you absolutely cannot shave it with how you guys have been playing as of late. Wanted to ask you about that. I mean, you guys are on a roll, and I was talking to your head coach, Kirk McDonald, the other day. You told me through the first 19 games, maybe it's more at this point, you guys never played the same lineup. I mean, how have you been able to find so much success consistently, considering there's been a lot of shuffling around?
I actually didn't know that. That's funny, but I just feel like we have so many guys that can play any role in any position, special teams, either of them. So we have a deep
Yeah.
roster, and it helps having great players, and our coaches do a great job, like putting everyone in a position to succeed. And we've also had great goaltending, no matter who's in the net. So it's been nice.
What's it been like playing for Kirk? What's he like on the ice? What's he like off the ice? What's he like on these long bus rides you guys have?
He's good, yeah. I mean, he's super engaging, and he wants the best for all of us at the end of the day. So it's nice having that. I feel like he's a player's coach, and he truly means it when he says he wants what's best for us. And the practices are awesome too. The systems are great, so it's been awesome this year and last year too.
Yeah. And Avery, a lot of good reports about you at the Prospects Challenge in Buffalo since 2023. You've kicked off your season there. Just what is it about that weekend that seems to bring out the best in your game early?
Uh, I don't know. I mean, it's a ton of fun. I feel like you're just so eager all summer to get back, like playing competitive games, and
Yeah.
I don't know. I feel like it's fun, and I have been an older guy there, so it's kind of like what I've been expected to do. So it's been nice, and it's a good way to get back to playing games and getting those habits that you forget about all summer.
How much of what you were able to do in training camp has helped you as far as to start the season? You had a great season last year, but then you hit pause. It's the off season. It's the summer. Get a chance to train here at the NHL level or with some of the Penguins here, and then you move over to Wilkes. What have you taken over from September that's still helping you now?
Yeah, I feel like it was big for everyone coming into a new training camp with the new coaching staff. You kind of want to leave a good first impression, and I felt I did a pretty good job of that. And just learning like all the new systems, what the head coach there wants. I mean, most of the systems are the same, but just kind of hearing like what he expects from the players, and just learning from all the older guys. I mean, being around them doesn't hurt at all. You see all their little habits and the little things they do every day. So.
Yeah, certainly doesn't hurt at all. Avery, when you received your first NHL deal with the Penguins last spring, Jason Spezza was joking that he wasn't sure if you received more messages about your NHL deal or your highlight reel goal, referring to your overtime winner to clinch the playoffs last year against Hartford. So I'm just curious, kind of what was going through your mind as you skated in on that breakaway. That was a pretty amazing highlight reel goal that went viral all over social media.
I've done that move before in juniors, and it happened to work
Okay.
both times. So, and I've tried it a couple times in practice. I feel like most of the time it works if the goalie doesn't know it's coming, and I mean, our goalie coach does an amazing job with the pre-scout of the goalies. He tells us what's open on breakaways, where to shoot, what spots to look for, and 5-hole was what he put up there on breakaways. So I thought I'd give it a try. I mean, it ended up working, which was really nice. I didn't really imagine what would happen if I missed, but it probably would have looked pretty dumb. But thankfully it went in, so that was nice. And it was a big goal for the team.
Yeah, next time I see Spez, I'll have to answer that question, though. Did you receive more messages on that goal or the deal?
I'd say the deal for sure.
No one gets you ready for puck drop like Penguins Face Off Live. Pre-game insights, analysis, and a word straight from the coach. Penguins Face Off Live before every game on SportsNet Pittsburgh. Presented by Highmark Blue Cross Blue Shield.
I did want to ask you about January 8th, 2024, and just what your initial reaction was knowing that you were going to be the first woman to call a Penguins game. That is insane, and that will forever be such a milestone that's going to go down in the team's history.
Yeah, I think actually, I feel like hold please.
Yeah, bring it on.
Didn't your teammates make you something?
They did.
Your Spartan teammates.
College teammates at Michigan State. They put together this awesome trophy for me. Michelle Crechiolo, first female broadcaster. And I just realized it was in the background of our video here. But
how perfect. Yeah, I love it.
I know. It was so nice of them to do that. And, it meant a lot. But I think, I'm usually the one, I feel like all of us are usually the ones telling the stories, and to be sort of the subject of one was just felt surreal. And, to know that I'm part of, just being part of the broadcaster class in general, getting to say that I've called a game, a National Hockey League broadcast that features future Hall of Famers, some of the best to ever play, to be able to call a goal from Sidney Crosby. I actually have chills saying it now. I just I can't believe I got to do that. And then to sort of make history along the way. It means the world. And because I love telling the stories of other women and in sports who have made an impact, and I'm their biggest fans. And so to sort of be in that, sort of be part of that was just an absolute dream come true, and something I definitely don't take lightly or take for granted. I feel like every day in this job, it's just how is this my life that I get to cover the Pittsburgh Penguins, and even going to Sweden, that was something I was I feel like every few hours in the trip, I was we're in Sweden. Can you believe this? Right. So
same.
Yeah, right?
That happened. It's crazy.
Yeah, that happened. We got to go there for our jobs to cover, this team and to, I feel like we get to watch Sidney Crosby on a nightly basis, and it's definitely something we don't take for granted. But to see the fans overseas that that was their first time ever getting to watch him, and it's just it really puts it in perspective. Just how lucky and fortunate we all are. So yeah, I feel so grateful to the Penguins for giving me the chance to be in the booth. I feel like they really have been pioneers when it comes to empowering women in hockey. That, when I started in 2010, it was very much they were putting me out there, and they're you're the in-house hockey expert, and you have a great background, and, we want you to be speaking, on behalf of the team, about this team. And so it's from day one, they've been unreal in that regard, and have really just sort of supported and pushed me. And it's led to opportunities like this, which I'm just I'm still in shock about in some ways.
Well, Mish, thanks so much for coming on. I feel like we could talk to you for 2 hours. There's so many stories to be told. So we got to have her on again, Josh. It's got to be a regular thing, but thank you so much for coming on. You're the best, and keep up the great work, right, Josh?
Yeah, keep it up, Michelle. We love your work. We love you. And we're going to tell our producer, Nick, you need to be in the hopper. We need you back on again. Especially, listen,
can you please wear another hat and be part of our podcast?
Right, yeah, exactly. Hey, listen, if you're talking to Sid and the Penguins win, You know how this goes better than all of us, Michelle. You have to come back on. So just
Oh,
saying.
that's
Wait,
right.
that's actually,
I
I
don't
was
make
thinking
rules.
about that. One of my, and I'll just end with this really quick Sid story that I was thinking about before I came
Please.
on. So like, like best memory of working for the Penguins was like going to Nova Scotia in the summer of 2016 for Sidney Crosby's cup celebrations. And like, it was something that he was doing like some public events, and we just felt like it was something we couldn't miss. Went there with like no expectations, but of course, Sid being Sid, invited us to everything that he did. Cause like if older, like some players get the cut for half a day, some guys get it for a day, some guys get it for a little longer. He had it for a little longer. So it was like, a dinner, a boat cruise, a brewery on Friday. And then there was a parade Saturday and party at his house afterward. And so that was just like the most unique, like incredible experience ever. But then it was just so funny because, obviously the Penguins go on to win a second straight cup. In the locker room in Nashville, after they had defeated the Predators, Sid like finds the crew that had been in Nova Scotia, and he's like, all right, so here's the dates for next year, like see you back, like, because he knew and remembered that we had been in Nova Scotia. The Penguins went on to win, so he's like, you guys got to come back because we won when you came to Nova Scotia, like. And the fact that was top of mind, and he just like,
Oh my
like
goodness. I love
amidst
it.
all of the celebrations. So it's just, it's funny, like nothing gets past that guy in that regard. So like, it's just so funny. So yeah, if the Penguins end up winning a game after this podcast appearance, I feel like I definitely will need to be back, and the captain will be on board with that.
Nisha, I wore an ugly Christmas sweater with Brian Rust's face all over it last year, and Sid had a 3-point game. I honestly can't remember what milestone it was that he tied Mario for, because there's been so many. I can't even keep track in my head. I'm sure he knows, but the first thing he said to me was, you're going to wear that next game too, right? I'm like, I got to wear this ugly sweater all season now. Something happened that allowed me to get out of it. But to your point, it's actually kind of insanity, but hilarious. So
yes, it's a great story. Yes. Exactly. And I really appreciate you guys having me on. I think so highly of you both, and this podcast has been awesome. And I'm not gonna lie, like I was waiting like for when I would hopefully get the call, and I'm honored that I got it here today, and it's been a blast. And yeah, I'm sad it's over, but I really enjoyed our time together, and hopefully look forward to another one in the future.